Chapter 8. The Golden Age. Elizabeth was at the height of her popularity. Her people adored her. Artists painted the Queen in all her splendor. In fact, more portraits were painted of Elizabeth than of any other ruler in England's history. Elizabeth had to approve every portrait. Any that she did not like were destroyed. Her likeness hung in homes and public spaces across England. Even if they had never seen her in person, English citizens knew how magnificent their Elizabeth was. The New World. Elizabeth was queen during an exciting time of exploration. After Columbus crossed the Atlantic Ocean in 1492 and later claimed islands off the coast of South America for Spain, other countries in Europe wanted strongholds in the New World too. They wanted to claim land and bring back riches, everything from fruits and vegetables to exotic animals, jewels, and gold. By the mid-1500s, European colonies took root in the New World. The Spanish, French, and English claimed territory in what is now Canada, what is now the United States, the Caribbean, and Brazil. They took land belonging to the native peoples for themselves. They felt it was their right. In a portrait made to celebrate England's victory over Spain, Elizabeth is shown wearing a satin and velvet gown. Perfect bows and shimmering pearls decorate her gown. She wears even more pearls in her ears and hair and around her neck. A delicate lace collar frames her face. Elizabeth's right hand rests on a globe to show England's new role as a world power. In the background of the painting, Spanish ships are being overtaken by the English fleet. But it is Elizabeth who is the focus of the painting. The Queen looks magnificent, larger than life. Elizabeth was Gloriana, the glorious Queen. Elizabeth was quite a fashion plate. The Queen's style influenced the way ladies in her court dressed. Of course, no one would dare outshine the Queen. Fashion became much fancier. Ruffs around the neck and wrists became bigger, and skirts and sleeves grew wider and wider. Fabric was covered in patterns and trimmed with braids and jewels. The Queen's wardrobe. Elizabeth owned hundreds of dresses. Each was like a fantastic costume. Elizabeth needed help putting on the heavy gowns, which had 8 layers. She could have never dressed herself. First came the bodice. The bodice was made of whale bones, wood, or steel, and fastened with ribbons that laced in the back. It squeezed in a woman's stomach and made her waist smaller. Bodices for ordinary women were looser, so the women could do their chores. Next came the petticoats. A petticoat is like a skirt with extra layers. It is worn underneath a dress for a fuller shape. Sometimes a series of hoops had to be worn to support the skirts made of the heaviest fabrics. Then came the gown. Her gowns were made out of beautiful fabrics from all over Europe. In splendid colors and hand-embroidered glittering jewels were sewn onto them. Finally, elaborate ruffs were placed around the Queen's neck and around her wrists. When the Queen entered a room, everyone at the court fell silent, and when the Queen appeared before her people, crowds would gasp in awe. Here's the petticoat, roll, the corset, the collar ruff, the sleeves, stockings, and farthingale. Men's styles became fancier too. Pants were wider and puffier. Men at court dyed their hair to match their outfits. Some men wore girdles for a slimmer waist. The courtiers presented the Queen with jewels, rubies, and pearls, and flattered her, saying the jewels matched the life of your eyes and the color of your lips. These gifts made the Queen feel like a goddess, beautiful and forever young. The Queen also enjoyed music, dancing, and theater. Elizabeth loved the arts more than any ruler before her. She was an intelligent, well-read woman, and she expected those around her to keep up with her interests. If you wanted to impress the Queen, you had to read important works of literature, know about drama and the latest plays, and sing and dance well. You might even have been expected to recite a sonnet for Her Majesty right on the spot. At court, musicians and actors performed for Elizabeth's entertainment. Outside of Whitehall Palace in London, playwrights like Christopher Marlowe and William Shakespeare grew popular. The first theater was built in 1586. The famous Globe Theatre was built in 1599 by William Shakespeare for his plays. Now even members of the lower classes could attend a play. Although brutal sports like bear baiting and cockfighting were still popular, people were also finding entertainment in new stories, plays, dances, and music. William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare was born in 1564. No one knows the exact day. In the small town of Stratford, just north of London. He was the third of 8 children, and his father was a glover. The Shakespeares were neither rich nor poor. William only went to school for a few years, but he grew up to become England's greatest poet and playwright. Shakespeare wrote more than 35 plays in his lifetime, including Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet, Othello, Macbeth, A Midsummer Night's Dream, and Richard III, and more than 150 sonnets. Shakespeare was popular in his own time because his plays were entertaining, moving, and funny all at once. Both the nobility, the common people, enjoyed them. Elizabeth herself was a great fan of Shakespeare's plays. As an actor, Shakespeare and his troupe, the Lord Chamberlain's men, were invited to perform for Her Majesty. Will probably admired the Queen too. Some people think the intelligent, fiery heroine in The Taming of the Shrew was based on Queen Elizabeth. Today, Shakespeare's plays are performed more than anyone else's in the world. The way we speak and read the English language may have changed since Shakespeare's time, but his plays about power, fallen heroes, love, and tragedy still move audiences to this day.